The Great Hall of the Galactic Council stretched out like a metal canyon. Thousands of alien beings filled the curved seats that rose up toward the domed ceiling. The air buzzed with different languages and the hum of translation devices. Ambassador Chen Wei walked down the center aisle, her black shoes clicking on the polished floor. Every step echoed in the huge space. Chen Wei looked small compared to the massive aliens around her. The Zephyrians sat like living crystals, their bodies catching the light and throwing rainbow patterns on the walls. The Vrex delegates clustered together, their insect-like heads turning to watch her pass. The tall, proud Altarians stood with their forearms crossed, looking down at the human with barely hidden disgust. At the front of the hall, Chancellor Vorthak waited on his floating platform. His purple skin glistened under the bright lights, his three eyes focused on Chen Wei as she approached the speaking podium. The massive alien had ruled the Galactic Council for over 50 years. He had seen many species come and go. Humans, he thought, were just another young race that needed to learn their place. Chen Wei reached the podium and placed a small silver device on its surface. The device beeped once and projected a hologram of the Earth flag above her head. The blue and green planet image slowly rotated as the flag waved in an invisible breeze. Honored members of the Galactic Council, Chen Wei began. Her voice carried clearly through the translation system. I stand before you today not to ask for anything. I am here to inform you of a decision. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Several alien delegates made sounds that the translators could not convert into words. Chancellor Vorthak raised one of his large hands for silence. Speak, human, Vorthak said. His voice boomed across the hall. What decision brings you before the council today? Chen Wei looked up at the thousands of alien faces staring down at her. Some looked curious, most looked bored. A few looked annoyed that a human had interrupted their important discussions. For 73 years, humanity has been a member of this council, Chen Wei said. We have followed your rules. We have paid our taxes. We have respected your traditions. We have asked politely for the same rights as other species. The Vrex Queen clicked her mandibles together. The sound echoed through her translation device as laughter. Rights must be earned, little human, she said. Your species is barely out of its caves. We have applied for colony rights in 17 systems, Chen Wei continued, ignoring the insult. All 17 applications were denied. We were told we were too young, too aggressive, too unpredictable. This is true, said High Commander Zrel of the Altarians. Your species wages war on itself. How can we trust you with new worlds? Chen Wei nodded slowly. We have offered our technology to help with the Council's projects. Our medical knowledge, our engineering skills, our mathematics. Each time, we were told our science was too primitive to be useful. More laughter came from the alien delegates. The crystalline Zephyrians made a sound like wind chimes in a storm. Even Chancellor Vorthak's lips pulled back in what might have been a smile. We have watched other species receive full trading rights within decades of joining the Council, Chen Wei said. Her voice grew louder. We have watched newer species receive colony grants and military protection. Meanwhile, humans remain classified as a developing species with limited rights. Because that is what you are, Chancellor Vorthak said. In time, perhaps in a few more centuries, your species may prove worthy of advancement. But that time is not now. Chen Wei picked up the silver device from the podium. She held it up so everyone could see it. The device was small and simple, no bigger than her hand. Most of the aliens had never seen anything like it. This device contains the formal withdrawal of humanity from the Galactic Council, Chen Wei said. Earth hereby ends all diplomatic relations with this body. All trade agreements are cancelled. All military cooperation is terminated. All cultural exchange programs are suspended. The hall erupted in noise. Aliens chattered, roared, buzzed, and screeched in dozens of languages. The translation systems overloaded and began producing static. Chancellor Vorthak's three eyes widened in surprise. You cannot be serious, he said. No species has ever voluntarily left the Council. We are completely serious, Chen Wei replied. She pressed a button on the device. Instantly, Every screen in the hall displayed the same message in thousands of languages. Humanity withdraws from the Galactic Council effective immediately. All agreements are void. Sol System is now under exclusive human jurisdiction. This is impossible, High Commander Zrel said. You need the Council. Your species cannot survive alone in the galaxy. Chen Wei looked up at the Altarian commander. For the first time since entering the hall, she smiled. It was not a friendly smile. Commander Zrel, she said, you assume we need you more than you need us. That assumption may prove to be incorrect. The Vrex Queen stood up, her insect body, towering over her smaller delegates. You threaten the Council, human. Your tiny fleet would be destroyed in days if we chose to act. We threaten no one, Chen Wei said. We simply choose to leave. Earth will have no further contact with any Council species. Our borders are now closed. Our trade routes are cancelled. Our people are coming home. Chancellor Vorthak leaned forward on his platform. Human, consider carefully what you are doing. The galaxy is a dangerous place for a species alone. Pirates, hostile aliens, cosmic storms. The Council protects you from these things. Chen Wei began walking back up the aisle. Her footsteps echoed in the suddenly quiet hall. She paused at the halfway point and turned around. Chancellor Vorthak, she said, you have protected us from nothing. You have given us nothing but rules and restrictions. You have treated us like children begging for scraps. Today the children are leaving home. Wait, called out a voice from the Zephyrian section. Surely we can discuss this. Perhaps some accommodations can be made. Chen Wei shook her head. The time for discussion ended 73 years ago. The time for accommodations ended when you denied our last colony application yesterday. We gave you every chance to treat us as equals. You chose to treat us as servants. She reached the back of the hall and turned to face the Council one last time. The thousands of alien beings stared down at her in silence. Some looked angry. Some looked confused. A few looked worried. You will regret this decision, human, Chancellor Vorthak said. Your species will come crawling back within a year, begging to be readmitted. Chen Wei's smile grew wider. Chancellor, I think you will find that the one doing the begging will not be humanity. She activated her personal shield generator and walked toward the exit. Behind her, the Council erupted into chaos once again. Delegates shouted questions and demands. Security guards moved to block the exits, but Chen Wei walked through their energy barriers like they were made of air. The great doors of the Council Hall closed behind her with a deep final sound. Ambassador Chen Wei, the last official representative of humanity to the Galactic Council, walked to her ship and began the journey home. In the hall behind her, Chancellor Vorthak stared at the empty doorway. For the first time in 50 years of ruling, he felt a cold touch of fear. Something in the human's voice had sounded like a promise. Or perhaps, he thought with growing unease, it had sounded like a warning. The galaxy was about to learn what humanity was truly capable of, and the lesson would not be a gentle one. The morning after Chen Wei's announcement, Merchant Krell arrived at his shop on Nexus Prime to find it empty. The human who had worked there for 12 years was simply gone. The cash register still worked, the lights still turned on, but something felt wrong. Krell checked the back room where Sarah used to organize the inventory. Everything was clean and organized, but all the human-made tools were missing. On the counter, Krell found a note written in perfect Nexian script. Thank you for the employment. All accounts are balanced. All duties are complete. Good luck with your business. Krell scratched his head with two of his forearms. Sarah had never mentioned leaving. She had seemed happy working there. She had even learned to speak Nexian better than most locals. Where could she have gone? 3 blocks away, Engineer Vex faced the same mystery. The humans who ran the water treatment plant had vanished overnight. The plant was still running perfectly, but all the control systems had been changed. The computers now displayed only basic functions in Council standard language. All the advanced features that the humans had installed were gone. The humans had left detailed instruction manuals for everything. Every procedure was written down clearly. Every spare part was labeled and organized. It was like they had planned this departure for years. Dr. Minth arrived at the central hospital to find the human medical staff missing. Dr. Elizabeth Santos, who had worked there for 8 years, was gone. So was Nurse Michael Chang and technician David Kim. The medical equipment they had brought from Earth was gone too. In the main lobby, Dr. Minth found a stack of patient files with notes attached. Each note explained the current treatment plan in simple language. Emergency contact numbers were provided for Altarian doctors who could take over the cases. Every detail had been considered, but Dr. Minth noticed something troubling. The advanced diagnostic machines that the humans had helped design were no longer working properly. The screens displayed error messages in Earth languages that no one else could read. Across the galaxy, the same pattern repeated itself. On the mining world of Kepler-7, human engineers packed up their equipment and boarded ships bound for Earth. They left behind detailed maps of all the mines and careful notes about safety procedures. But they took with them the special scanners that could find rare metals deep underground. The Vrex supervisors tried to continue the mining operations without human help. They quickly discovered that the scanners left behind could only detect common materials. The valuable, rare Earth elements that made the mines profitable were suddenly impossible to find. Captain Zax of the merchant vessel Starwind tried to contact his human business partners on the trade station at Alpha Centauri. The communication channel was dead. He flew his ship to the station to investigate. The station was still there, still functioning, but all the human traders were gone. The automated systems continued to operate, but the advanced trading algorithms that had made the station so profitable had been removed. The remaining alien traders found themselves using primitive bartering systems that cut their profits by 70%. Chancellor Vorthak received reports from across the galaxy throughout the day. Each report was the same. Humans were leaving quietly and efficiently. They took their people, their technology, and their knowledge. They left behind working systems and detailed instructions, but nothing advanced. It's probably for the best. High Commander Zarel told the Chancellor during an emergency meeting. We never needed them anyway. They were always more trouble than they were worth. But by the end of the first week, problems began to appear. The galactic communication network started experiencing delays. Messages that used to arrive instantly now took hours or days to transmit between distant systems. Chief Engineer Yorthan investigated the problem and made a disturbing discovery. The humans had built most of the relay stations that carried messages across the galaxy. The stations still worked, but they were running on backup systems. The main processing units had been removed. How long can the backup systems function? Chancellor Vorthak asked. Perhaps 6 months, Yorthan replied. Maybe less if traffic remains heavy. On the trade world of New Babylon, the economic effects became visible quickly. Human shipping companies had carried 60% of all cargo between systems. With the humans gone, shipping costs doubled overnight. Goods that had been cheap and plentiful became expensive and rare. Store owner Glix watched his inventory dwindle as supply ships failed to arrive. The human captain who usually delivered his goods had sent a polite message. All shipping contracts with non-human entities are now canceled. We wish you success in finding alternative transportation. The Zephyrian Council of Crystals noticed problems with their power grid. The crystal matrices that provided energy to their cities began fluctuating. Engineer Ting called for human technicians to fix the problem, then remembered that the humans were gone. When Zephyrian engineers examined the power system, they found that the crystals had been modified with human technology. The modifications made the system 90% more efficient, but they required constant adjustment using equipment that only humans understood. Can we remove the human modifications? Asked Council Crystal Zeth. Yes, replied Chief Engineer Schall, but our power output will drop to barely adequate levels. We will need to shut down non-essential systems across all our worlds. The Vrex. Hive Queen called an emergency meeting of her sub-queens. Reports came in from every Vrex world. Food distribution was failing. The complex logistics system that fed billions of Vrex had been managed by human artificial intelligence programs. The humans ran our food delivery system? The Hive Queen asked in surprise. Not entirely, replied Sub-Queen Shik. but their computer programs optimized our routes and calculated our nutritional needs. Without them, our efficiency has dropped by 60%. Some outer colonies may face shortages within weeks. On the military front, Admiral Korth discovered that the Galactic Defense Force had serious problems. The quantum radar systems that detected threats across space were malfunctioning. Human technicians had maintained these systems for decades. "Can our people repair them?" Admiral Korth asked his chief engineer. "We can try," the engineer replied. But the humans never fully shared the quantum entanglement technology. They called it proprietary information. We always assumed it was primitive anyway. As the second week passed, panic began to spread among Council leadership. The humans had not just been participants in galactic civilization, they had become critical to its operation. Their quiet efficiency had made them indispensable, and no one had noticed. Chancellor Vorthak tried to contact Earth directly. His communications were blocked by an automated system that played a simple message. "The Sol system is under human jurisdiction. No outside contact is permitted. Approach will be considered hostile." Dr. Sarah Mitchell, the human xenobiologist who had stayed behind to finish her research, was arrested and brought before the Council for questioning. She sat calmly in the interrogation room, showing no sign of fear or anger. "Why did your people leave so suddenly?" Chancellor Vorthak demanded. Dr. Mitchell looked at him with patient eyes. "We didn't leave suddenly," she said. "We've been preparing for this possibility for 70 years. Every human in the galaxy knew this day might come." "Preparing how?" "We documented everything. We trained replacements where possible. We designed our systems to function without us, at least temporarily. We tried to be responsible about our departure. But why leave at all?" pressed High Commander Zrel. "Surely we could have worked out an arrangement." Dr. Mitchell sighed. "Commander, in 73 years, how many humans have been promoted to senior positions in the Council government? That's not relevant. Promotion is based on merit and experience." "Zero," Dr. Mitchell said. "The answer is zero. How many human companies have been awarded major Council contracts? Business is awarded to the most qualified bidders. Zero again. How many human colonies have been approved? Your species is still developing. Zero." Dr. Mitchell leaned forward. "For 73 years we knocked on your door. We asked politely to be treated as equals. You patted us on the head and told us to wait. We're done waiting." The interrogation continued for hours, but Dr. Mitchell revealed nothing useful. Finally, Chancellor Vorthak asked the question that had been bothering him most. "Dr. Mitchell, what did your people actually do here? Not what we thought you did, but what you really did." Dr. Mitchell smiled sadly. "Chancellor, you never bothered to ask that question before. You assumed we were just grateful to be included in your great civilization. You never wondered why we were so good at the jobs you gave us. You never asked why we worked so hard for so little recognition. So tell me now." "We were studying you," Dr. Mitchell said quietly. "All of you. Every species, every government, every technology, every weakness. We learned your languages better than you speak them. We understood your cultures better than you do. We made ourselves indispensable so we could see how everything really worked." Chancellor Vorthak felt a chill run through his body. "Why?" "Because we knew this day would come. We knew eventually you would push us too far. And when that happened, we wanted to be ready." 3 weeks after the human withdrawal, Chancellor Vorthak stood in the Council's Emergency Command Center. Holographic displays showed problems spreading across the galaxy like a plague. Red warning lights blinked on dozens of systems. Each light represented a critical failure somewhere in the galactic infrastructure. Admiral Korth pointed to a map showing the Outer Rim territories. "Chancellor, we've lost contact with 17 systems. The quantum communication array is breaking, down faster than our engineers can repair it." "How is that possible?" Vorthak demanded. "That system was built to last for centuries." Chief Engineer Yorthan pulled up technical diagrams on the main screen. "Sir, we've discovered something disturbing," The quantum entanglement protocols that run our communication network were designed by humans. We thought they were using our technology with minor modifications. We were wrong. The diagrams showed the communication system's core components. To most of the alien engineers, the designs looked familiar, but hidden within the standard patterns were subtle changes that made all the difference. What exactly did they change? Asked High Commander Zrel. Everything, Yorthan replied. The quantum field harmonics, the entanglement stabilizers, the processing algorithms. It's all human design hidden inside our equipment. Our engineers have been maintaining systems they never actually understood. Commander Belrix of the Zephyrian Engineering Corps added her report. The same pattern exists in our power grid systems. We thought the humans were helping us optimize our crystal matrices. Instead, they rebuilt our entire energy infrastructure using hybrid technology. She activated a hologram showing Zephyrian power stations. Look at this crystal formation. It appears to be standard Zephyrian design, but the molecular structure has been altered using human quantum physics. The crystals now resonate at frequencies that our natural crystals cannot achieve. Can you recreate their modifications? Chancellor Vorthak asked. No, sir. We don't understand the science behind it. The humans advanced our technology by several centuries without telling us. They made us dependent on science we cannot reproduce. The Vrex sub-Queen Schick delivered an even more shocking report. The Hive Queen has discovered that our food distribution network was completely redesigned by humans. They didn't just optimize our existing system, they replaced it entirely. She projected images of Vrex colony ships. Look at these storage compartments. They appear to be standard Vrex design, but the molecular structure of the materials has been altered. The walls are now capable of maintaining perfect atmospheric conditions for food preservation. We have no idea how they did it. How bad is the food situation? Vorthak asked. Critical. Without the human optimization, our distribution efficiency has dropped to 40% of previous levels. Some outer colonies are already rationing food. We estimate that major shortages will begin within 6 weeks. Admiral Korth added his own disturbing news. Our defensive systems are failing throughout the galaxy. The humans maintained our shields, our weapons, and our sensors. But they didn't just maintain them, they improved them. Most of our military technology is now beyond our ability to repair. He showed images of space defense platforms. These orbital weapons appear unchanged, but their targeting systems are running on human-designed computers. Their power sources have been upgraded using human engineering. Their shield generators use human force field technology. What's the bottom line, Admiral? Chancellor Vorthak asked. Sir, our military capability has been reduced by 70%. If hostile forces attacked now, we could barely defend our core systems. The reports continued for hours. Every department, every system, every aspect of galactic civilization had been quietly transformed by human involvement. The humans had not been junior partners learning from their betters. They had been the teachers, patiently upgrading and improving everything they touched. Dr. Sarah Mitchell was brought before the emergency assembly once again. This time, she was not treated as a prisoner. She was escorted to the speaker's podium with full honors. Dr. Mitchell, Chancellor Vorthak said, we need to understand what your people have done to our technology. Dr. Mitchell looked out at the assembled council members. Many of the aliens who had laughed at Chen Wei 3 weeks ago now watched her with worried expressions. You want to know why your systems are failing? She asked. Yes. We need technical specifications, repair manuals, anything that can help us fix the problems. Dr. Mitchell shook her head. Chancellor, you're asking the wrong question. You should be asking why we helped you in the first place. Then tell us that. We helped because we hoped you would eventually accept us as equals. Every improvement we made to your technology was a gift. Every system we optimized was an attempt to prove our worth. Every innovation we shared was us showing you that we belonged in this community. High Commander Zrel stood up. But you hid your improvements from us. You made us dependent without telling us. Did we? Dr. Mitchell asked. How many times did human engineers try to explain their modifications to your people? How many times did we offer to teach you our methods? How many research papers did we submit that were rejected as too theoretical or unnecessarily complex. Council chamber fell silent. Several delegates shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Dr. Mitchell continued. We tried to share our knowledge openly. You weren't interested. You assumed that anything humans created must be primitive, so we stopped trying to explain and simply made things work better. What exactly is your technology capable of? Asked Commander Belrix. That's not the right question either, Dr. Mitchell replied. The right question is, what were we capable of before we ever met you? She activated her personal communicator and projected a hologram in the center of the chamber. The image showed the Sol system, but it looked nothing like the star charts in the Council's databases. The space around Earth was filled with massive structures. Ring-shaped stations orbited the sun. Geometric frameworks surrounded the outer planets. Energy fields connected the structures in patterns that hurt to look at directly. This is the Sol system as it exists today, Dr. Mitchell said. This is what we built while we were pretending to be your grateful junior partners. The assembled aliens stared at the hologram in shock. The structures were clearly beyond anything in Council technology. Some of the geometric patterns seemed to bend space itself. Impossible, whispered Chief Engineer Yorthan. Those structures would require energy output greater than most stars. Yes, Dr. Mitchell agreed. They would if you were using your technology, but we're not. Chancellor Vorthak leaned forward. Dr. Mitchell, what is humanity's actual technological level? Do you really want to know? She asked. Are you prepared for the answer? Tell us. Dr. Mitchell looked around the chamber, at the thousands of alien faces staring at her. When we first detected your radio signals and learned about the Galactic Council, we faced a choice. We could reveal ourselves as we truly were, or we could approach you as apparent equals and see what you were really like. What do you mean by as we truly were? We mean as a species that had already colonized 17 star systems, built artificial worlds, and mastered technologies that you still consider theoretical. We mean as a species that could have taken whatever we wanted from you, but chose to see if you were worthy of friendship instead. The chamber erupted in shocked voices. Aliens chattered, screeched, and buzzed in dozens of languages. The translation system struggled to keep up with the chaos. Chancellor Vorthak raised his hands for silence. You're saying that humans were more advanced than the Council from the beginning? We're saying that we spent 73 years pretending to be less than we are, hoping you would prove yourselves worthy of knowing the truth. We wanted allies, not subjects. We wanted friends, not people who looked down on us. And now, Dr. Mitchell's expression grew sad. Now we know what you really think of species you consider inferior. We've seen how you treat those who ask for your help. We've learned that you're not the enlightened civilization you pretend to be. What will happen now? Asked the Vrex sub-queen. That depends on you, Dr. Mitchell replied. We're going home. We're taking our people and our technology back to human space. What you do with the infrastructure we leave behind is your choice. Can we repair the systems without human help? Eventually. It might take you decades or centuries to fully understand what we did. Or you might find other solutions. We've left detailed manuals for basic operations. The systems will work at reduced efficiency, but they will work. Admiral Korth asked the question that everyone was thinking. Will humanity return to the galaxy? Dr. Mitchell considered the question carefully. That depends on whether the galaxy learns from this experience. If the Council continues to treat other species the way you treated us, then no. Humanity will develop our own space and leave you alone. And if the Council changes, then perhaps someday we might consider contact again. But that day is not today, and it will not be soon. You'll need to prove that you've changed, not just promise it. Chancellor Vorthak felt the weight of the crisis settling on his shoulders. The humans had not just left the Council. They had revealed that the Council's entire technological foundation was built on the charity of a. 2 months after Dr. Mitchell's departure, the Kepler Trade Hub went dark. Station Commander Yelix received the final transmission at 14:32 Galactic Standard Time. This is Kepler Control. All systems failing. We are abandoning the station. Tell the Council that the humans were right. The trade hub had been the economic heart of the Outer Rim for over 200 years. Thousands of merchants from dozens of species conducted business there daily. The station's collapse sent shockwaves through the galactic economy that reached the core worlds within hours. Chancellor Vorthak watched the emergency reports flood in from his command center. The holographic displays showed a cascade of red, warning signals spreading across the galaxy like a virus. Each failed system triggered failures in connected systems, creating a chain reaction that Council engineers seemed powerless to stop. How many people were on Kepler Station? He asked. Admiral Korth. Approximately 50,000 permanent residents plus another 20,000 traders and visitors, Korth replied. Most were evacuated to nearby systems, but the economic damage is catastrophic. Chief Economic Advisor Nell projected financial data onto the main screen. Chancellor, the Kepler hub processed 40% of all trade between the outer and middle rim territories. Without it, shipping costs have increased by 300%. Many trade routes are no longer profitable. On the industrial world of Vega 7, factory supervisor Gorth watched his production lines shut down one by one. The human-designed efficiency systems had kept the factories running at peak performance for decades. Now, with those systems failing, production had dropped to 30% of normal levels. Can we fix the machines manually? Gorth asked his chief engineer. We're trying, the engineer replied. But the humans integrated their improvements so deeply into our systems that we can't separate them. It's like trying to remove someone's nervous system while keeping them alive. Similar scenes played out across thousands of worlds. On New Babylon, store shelves emptied as supply chains collapsed. On Altair Prime, power grids fluctuated wildly, without human-maintained stabilizers. On Zephyr, entire cities went dark as crystal matrices failed. The Vrex Hive Queen faced the most serious crisis. Food shortages had begun appearing in the outer colonies exactly as predicted. The complex distribution network that fed billions of Vrex had been so thoroughly optimized by human algorithms that replacing it was proving impossible. How long before the shortages reached the inner colonies? The Hive Queen asked Sub-Queen. Chic. 3 weeks, Your Majesty, maybe less. Our transportation ships are running at 40% efficiency without human logistics software. We simply cannot move food fast enough to prevent starvation in the remote areas. What about emergency? Rationing? Already implemented. But some colonies are reporting that their storage facilities are also failing. The humans apparently modified our food preservation systems as well. Without their technology, food spoils much faster than our calculations predicted. The crisis deepened when the galactic communication network suffered a major collapse. The quantum relay stations that carried messages between star systems began shutting down in sequence. Entire sectors lost contact with the rest of the galaxy. Chief Engineer Yorthin worked frantically to maintain the remaining communication links. The quantum entanglement fields are destabilizing faster than we anticipated, he reported to Chancellor Vorthak. We've lost contact with 67 systems in the past week. Can you restore the connections? Not with our current understanding of the technology. The humans designed quantum stabilizers that we cannot reproduce. Each time a relay station fails, it puts additional stress on the remaining stations. The whole network is collapsing. High Commander Zrel faced military disasters across the galaxy. Defense platforms orbiting critical worlds had gone offline. Patrol ships found their advanced sensors malfunctioning. Even the weapon systems on Council warships were failing without human maintenance. Sir, reported Captain Vash of the battleship, Eternal Glory, our targeting computers are producing random errors. Yesterday we fired at a practice target and missed by 12,000 kilometers. Our weapons officer says the human-designed guidance systems are degrading. Can you switch to manual targeting? Yes, sir, but our accuracy drops to primitive levels. We're essentially fighting with technology from 1,000 years ago. The psychological impact was as devastating as the practical problems. Species that had been proud members of an advanced galactic civilization suddenly found themselves struggling with basic infrastructure. The sense of technological superiority that had defined council culture for millennia was crumbling. On Nexus, Prime, riots broke out in the commercial districts as imported goods became unavailable. Citizens who had taken galactic trade for granted suddenly faced shortages of everything from food to medicine to entertainment. Chancellor Vorthak authorized emergency measures, including military distribution of essential supplies and temporary price controls. But the underlying problem remained. The galaxy's economic system had been built around human efficiency, and that efficiency was gone. Dr. Vex, the Altarian scientist who had mocked human intelligence for decades, made a disturbing discovery while analyzing failed systems. The humans had not just improved existing technology, they had completely redesigned it using scientific principles that the Council didn't understand. "Look at this power converter," he explained to a gathering of Council scientists. "It appears to be a standard fusion reactor with minor modifications. But when we examine it at the quantum level, we find that the humans altered the fundamental physical processes involved." The holographic display showed the reactor's internal structure. To most observers, it looked like familiar technology, but Dr. Vex highlighted the areas where human science had made subtle changes. They somehow modified the strong nuclear force within the reactor chamber. The fusion process is now 30% more efficient than our physics says is possible. We don't know how they did it, and we certainly can't reproduce it. Similar discoveries were made throughout the galaxy. Human improvements turned out to be applications of advanced physics that the Council had never mastered. The humans had been sharing technology that was centuries ahead of what other species could understand. The revelation raised disturbing questions about humanity's true capabilities. If humans could casually modify fundamental forces of nature, what else could they do? How advanced was their real technology? And why had they hidden their abilities for so long? These questions became urgent when long-range sensors detected strange activity in the Sol system. The massive structures that Dr. Mitchell had shown in her hologram were not static. They were growing. Admiral Korth studied the sensor data with growing alarm. "Chancellor, the energy output from Sol system has increased by 200% in the past month. Whatever the humans are building, it's getting bigger." "Are they preparing for war?" Chancellor Vorthak asked. "Unknown. Our sensors can't penetrate whatever technology they're using, but the energy patterns suggest construction on a massive scale. They might be building defenses, or they might be building something else entirely." The first attempt to contact Earth directly ended in failure. A Council diplomatic ship approached the edge of Sol system and was met by an automated warning. "This space is under human jurisdiction. Turn back immediately, or face the consequences." Captain Jorth of the diplomatic vessel tried to broadcast a message explaining his peaceful intentions. The response was swift and terrifying. His ship system simply shut down. Power, life support, navigation, communications. Everything stopped working simultaneously. "How are they doing this?" his engineer asked in panic. "They're not attacking us. Our systems are just stopping." The ship drifted helplessly for several hours before the systems reactivated. Along with the power came a new message. "You have been warned. Do not approach Sol system again." Captain Zorth's report sent shockwaves through the Council. The humans had disabled a military vessel without firing a shot, from a distance of several light years. The technology required for such an action was beyond anything the Council had ever encountered. Chancellor Vorthak convened emergency sessions with the leaders of every major species. The agenda was simple but terrifying: how to survive in a galaxy without human support. "We need to face reality," he told the assembled leaders. "Our civilization has become dependent on technology we don't understand, provided by a species we treated as inferiors. Now that technology is failing, and we don't know how to fix it." The Zephyrian high crystal spoke with crystalline chimes that the translators converted to worried tones. "Our energy grid will collapse completely within 6 months. Our people will be forced to return to primitive power sources. Billions may die." The Vrex Hive Queen's report was even bleaker. Famine has already begun in our outer territories. We estimate that 20% of our population may starve before we can rebuild our food distribution systems. High Commander Zrel delivered the military assessment. Our defensive capabilities are declining daily. If hostile forces chose to attack now, we could not protect our core worlds. We are essentially defenseless. 6 months after humanity's withdrawal, Chancellor Vorthak stood alone in his private office staring out at the city below. Nexus Prime, once the shining heart of galactic civilization, looked like a dying world. Half the towers were dark due to power shortages. The sky bridges between buildings carried only scattered travelers instead of the usual crowds. The great spaceport that had once welcomed ships from 1,000 worlds now sat mostly empty. His personal communicator chimed with another crisis report. The Altarian Empire had officially withdrawn from the Galactic Council 3 days ago. They were the 7th major power to leave in the past month. High Commander Zrel's final message had been brief. The Council can no longer provide the services we need. Altair will manage its own affairs. The Zephyrian Crystal Collective had announced their withdrawal just hours earlier. Their energy crisis had become so severe that they were shutting down all non-essential systems. Billions of Zephyrians were entering hibernation cycles to reduce power consumption. Their once brilliant crystal cities now glowed with barely enough light to sustain life. Admiral Korth entered the office without being announced. The military's formal protocols had become another casualty of the ongoing crisis. Chancellor, I have the final casualty reports from the Vrex territories. Vorthak didn't turn away from the window. How bad? 18 billion dead from starvation and related causes. The Hive Queen has declared a state of species emergency. They're abandoning their outer colonies and concentrating their remaining population on their homeworld. What about the emergency food shipments from the core worlds? Too little, too late. Without the human logistics networks, we simply couldn't move enough supplies fast enough. The distance between systems that seemed manageable with human shipping now feels impossible with our reduced capabilities. Vorthak finally turned to face his old friend. Admiral Korth looked like he had aged 20 years in 6 months. The proud military leader who had once commanded fleets across the galaxy now struggled to maintain basic patrol coverage around the core worlds. Admiral, give me an honest assessment of our current military strength. Korth pulled up a holographic display showing the remains of the Galactic Defense Force. Where once there had been thousands of ships spread across hundreds of systems, now only a few dozen remained operational. We have 43 fully functional warships remaining, Korth reported. Another 112 ships with limited capabilities. Our sensor networks cover less than 10% of Council space. Our communication range has shrunk to the immediate core systems. Can we defend the core worlds if attacked? Against primitive raiders or small pirate fleets, yes. Against any organized military force, no. We're essentially defenseless beyond our home systems. The irony was not lost on either of them. The Galactic Council, which had once protected thousands of worlds, could now barely defend the handful of systems that remained loyal to it. Reports from the outer territories painted an even bleaker picture. The collapse of galactic infrastructure had created power vacuums that various factions were rushing to fill. Some systems had formed their own defense alliances. Others had been conquered by aggressive neighbors. A few had simply gone silent, their fate unknown. The economic situation was equally catastrophic. The galactic currency had lost 90% of its value as trade networks collapsed. Many worlds had reverted to local currencies or barter systems. The complex financial mechanisms that had enabled interstellar commerce for millennia had simply stopped working without human-maintained computer networks. Chief Economic Advisor Nell's final report before her resignation had been brutally honest. The galactic economy as we knew it no longer exists. We are witnessing the collapse of a civilization that took 10,000 years to build. But the most disturbing reports came from the long-range sensor stations that still functioned. The activity in Sol system had not only continued but accelerated. The energy signatures detected by Council sensors suggested construction projects on an almost incomprehensible scale. Dr. Yex, one of the few Council scientists still attempting to analyze the human activities, delivered his latest findings to a nearly empty Council chamber. Only 23 delegates remained from the thousands who had once filled the Great Hall. The structures around Seoul have grown exponentially, Dr. Yex reported. We estimate that the humans have built the equivalent of 50,000 space stations in just 6 months. The energy output from their system now exceeds that of most star clusters. The few remaining delegates listened in stunned silence. The implications were staggering. If humans could build on such a scale so quickly, their true technological capabilities were beyond anything the Council had imagined. Dr. Yex asked the Nexian representative, "What are they building?" "Unknown. Our sensors cannot penetrate their defensive fields to get detailed images. But the scale suggests either massive industrial complexes or something else entirely." "What kind of something else?" Dr. Yex hesitated before answering. "The energy patterns are consistent with technologies that we have theorized but never achieved. Space-time manipulation, matter conversion on a stellar scale, possibly even dimensional engineering. If our readings are correct, the humans may be rebuilding reality itself within their solar system." Chancellor Vorthak felt a cold chill as he contemplated the implications. The humans had spent 73 years pretending to be a minor species, while secretly advancing far beyond anything the Council could comprehend. Now they were unleashing that hidden technology without restraint. The first direct communication from humanity in months arrived without warning. Every functioning communication device in Council space simultaneously activated to broadcast the same message. The voice was calm, professional, and unmistakably human. "This is Director Sarah Chen of the Human Colonial Administration. We are broadcasting this message to inform the former Galactic Council territories of our current activities." Chancellor Vorthak recognized the name. Sarah Chen was Ambassador Chen Wei's younger sister, a scientist who had supposedly died in a research accident 20 years ago. Her survival suggested that the humans had been planning their withdrawal for far longer than anyone had suspected. "Humanity has completed the first phase of our infrastructure development program," the message continued. "We have established secure borders around all human-controlled space. We have relocated our population to facilities capable of supporting our true technological needs. We have begun construction of the projects we delayed during our time with the Council." The broadcast included holographic images that made the remaining Council delegates gasp in wonder and terror. The Sol system was no longer recognizable. The space between planets was filled with geometric structures that seemed to bend light around them. The planets themselves had been transformed into something that looked more like engineered artifacts than natural worlds. "We want to make our position clear to all former Council species," Director Chen continued. "Humanity considers our relationship with the galaxy to be permanently severed. We will not engage in diplomacy, trade, or any other form of contact with non-human species. Human space is closed to all outside visitors. However, we also have no interest in conquest or revenge. We will not attack Council territories or interfere with your efforts to rebuild your civilization. We simply want to be left alone to pursue our own development without interference." The message included a detailed map showing the boundaries of human space. The territory was vast, encompassing not just Sol system but dozens of other star systems that had apparently been secretly colonized during humanity's time with the Council. "We advise all species to respect these boundaries," Director Chen warned. "Any ship that enters human space without permission will be disabled, and its crew returned to the nearest non-human system. Any military vessel that approaches our borders will be destroyed without warning. We wish you success in rebuilding your civilization. Perhaps someday, when you have learned to treat other species with respect and equality, contact between our peoples may be possible again. But that day is not today, and it will not be soon." The transmission ended, leaving the Council chamber in absolute silence. The few remaining delegates stared at the holographic map showing human territory. The red zones marking restricted space covered almost a quarter of what had once been Council-controlled galaxy. Chancellor Vorthak realized that he was looking at the birth of a new galactic superpower. The humans had not just left the Council, they had replaced it. While the old civilization collapsed, humanity was building something entirely new in its place. Over the following weeks, Reports confirmed the humans' warnings. 3 different species attempted to send diplomatic missions to human space. All 3 ships were found drifting near the border with their crews unconscious, but unharmed. The ship's computers contained detailed medical scans and a note. Your people are healthy and will recover completely. Do not return. A small pirate fleet made the mistake of trying to raid a human border system. The pirates simply vanished. No wreckage was found, no distress signals were detected. It was as if they had been erased from existence. Chancellor Vorthak's attempts to send messages to Earth were ignored.